That's why we got to audit the Federal Reserve. We got to get on the offensive against these people and discredit them and expose them. That's why they've hired thousands of professors and high school teachers to go out and do community service things where they pay for free food and drinks and have the public at hotel balls. They've had 5 or 6 I've seen in the news in Austin, where they whine and dine and teach everybody the Federal Reserve is the answer to everything and basically offer the people jobs if they'll be little Soviet agents of the private Fed. They're just spawning private minions to go around enforcing on us. Usually they don't have to pay these people off. They just have local talk show hosts and media people to a Federal Reserve banquet and buy them a T-bone steak, and they'll sell their whole family out for 1 million years. There's a report here out of the Associated Press. Dodd, giving the Fed more power is like awarding a son a bigger, faster car right after he crashed the family station wagon. That's Dodd playing politics. Remember when Obama tried to burn Dodd and said Dodd was the one that had given banker anonymity and allowed money from the stimulus package to go to banker bonuses? And Dodd went, what do you mean? You signed the executive order and told the Congress to add that in there, or you wouldn't sign it. And the White House said, okay, you're right, and backed off. They were so arrogant, they were trying to blame it on their little low-level demon, Dodd. I have all these idiot Democrats send me emails going, oh, Obama, he's fighting the banker bailout. No, Tim Geithner ran the private New York Fed, the real Fed, the one that runs all the others. One ring to rule them all and in the darkness bind them. He was the one, mainstream news admits, telling Bush and Paulson what to do because he was the one at the Federal Reserve giving the money to Goldman Sachs, headed up by the Treasury Secretary. And now Geithner's on the news saying, you have got to give unlimited money and funding to the Federal Reserve. I advise you to give them unlimited power when that little bastard is a shareholder in the banks that own shares in the private Fed. When that little creature's the former chief executive officer of the key Federal Reserve Bank. And I'll tell you what this dictatorship's doing. It's even shut down the other Fed governorships that local regional banks thought they were part of. They've all been bitching and complaining, even in Bloomberg, saying we've been completely shut off, and this is a coup d'etat. In fact, remember 2 months ago, Bloomberg headline? Fed governor says Federal Reserve involved in takeover, in financial coup. It is a coup d'etat by an offshore group of pirates. It is outrageous. It is just unbelievably outrageous. The chairman of the Senate Banking Committee, Christopher Dodd, quoted a critic of the plan to expand the Federal Reserve powers in the Banking Committee hearing. He said, like awarding a son a bigger, faster car right after he crashed the family station wagon. He added that he hadn't made a conclusion on the issue. So, see, he's acting like he's against it, but the bastard will vote for it. Watch. See, they'll act like they're against all this stuff. And then George Washington Blogspot says the critic is corrected. The Fed caused the Great Depression, according to Bernanke himself. The Fed largely caused the current financial crisis. The Fed creates new money out of thin air and then charges massive amounts in interest to the federal government, impoverishing the nation and stealing its wealth. And the Fed has refused to tell Congress and the American people where the trillions of dollars in bailout money are going. And then he has all the links. I love his writing. Everything's documented. So it's simple. Things are only going to get worse and worse and worse in the economy, and they're going to force you to serve them, work in their industries, in their police state system. They're converting us from manufacturing and jobs and farming to police state, and then they own the police state private grid. Period. That's coming up with Bob Chapman. Here's some of the other news. ACLU, Ron Paul's Campaign for Liberty, sue TSA over illegal detention. Remember the audio of him secretly recording it? Campaign for Liberty's having a huge event, selling T-shirts, Coca-Cola, you name it. They got 50,000 people coming into Kansas City to have an event. Their treasurer flies in with, $5,000. You'd have thought he had more. And in America, they search his bag going through the checkpoint, find the cash, and they pull him aside, and they're about to steal the money under asset forfeiture seizure like they do little old ladies here in Texas on the side of the highway every day. That's on the news. They said, you're going to answer our questions. And he said, I'm not going to answer any of your questions. It's a free country. But meanwhile, I had Gary Franchi in here. He used to do loss prevention for a major retailer, and I've talked to so many others just like him. And they'd catch illegal aliens stealing stuff at the department store, and they'd have fake IDs, and the cops would let them go. But if a 16-year-old, zit-faced teenage girl got caught stealing something, they had the book thrown at them, and they're never coming out of the prison system, basically. That's how America works. We are known as the idiot schmucks. We are known as the suckers. We are known as the fools. We are known as the people that will buy anything and will put up with anything because we think we're free. But no, don't want to harass the precious little illegal aliens. I remember 3 years ago they were trying to pass the blanket amnesty plan, and the Congress said, don't worry, we promise it's not an amnesty, but the bill is secret. And then Senator Sessions of Alabama leaked the bill, and it was total, complete amnesty for even felons. And they could bring their family members here, unlimited, wide-open borders. It would end illegal immigration because nothing would be illegal. I remember the AP article saying, oh, yes, we're trying to do this to help the illegals in the tough economic times. They were still denying it was bad times for everybody else. And also, we're making sure that we give them loans even if it's not secured. We don't give this to citizens, but we want to help the immigrant communities. See, I told you about a lady I know, a good family friend, who ran one of the biggest apartment complexes in the state of Texas. She managed several of them here in Austin for the biggest apartment company in the nation. The owner of it just committed suicide a few months ago. He was found dead in his burnout car in West Texas. Totally staged his death, that's clear. But this family friend, who I've known since I was a little kid, the point is, I'm now hearing about the latest chapters in the saga, but going back 5 years ago, they have them up to the Christmas party in Dallas for all the managers. And they tell them, we've secretly been federalized. We have secretly been federalized, and we don't have to pay income taxes anymore on any of our properties in a deal with Homeland Security, but we are to give illegal immigrants apartments. No matter how many they have in it, if it says 2 occupancy, they can have 10. But we want you to drive the citizens out because we've got to convert to at least half of our occupants being on this new government housing program, part of infrastructure protection. And she's telling me all of this, and I already knew about it, but here it was directly, where they get to do whatever they want. You want to shoplift? You want to drunk drive? You want to not have insurance? Red carpet. They're passing laws all over the country where license plate reading cameras scan your license plate. They're already doing it, but it feeds into software. And the day your insurance is out, you're going to get arrested because you're a fat, stupid slave, land of the cowards, home of the yellow bellies that'll put up with anything. But an illegal alien gets pulled over, red carpets shoot out in front of them. You want houses and don't have credit? You got it. You want to be able to have 10 people in a efficiency apartment? You got it. You want to be above the law? You got it. You want to be able to shoplift? You got it. Because this is a criminal government. At the top, the bankers can steal, loot, rob. They want the illegals here to drive down wages, to blow out their enemy, the middle class. This is military warfare. Pressure from below, pressure from above. Got the bankers and the IRS throwing everything they got at the American people. Meanwhile, billionaires cannot be audited because they don't even allow the IRS to audit them, don't even allow case officers at that level. That's mainstream news. Half of Congress, AP reports, doesn't even pay taxes. It's all just a sickening joke of criminals running around everywhere, and they want the third world populations up here to blow out the wages and bankrupt America, so nobody had a chance, and so everybody had to go into debt to the credit cards, and so everybody would implode, and so both the mother and father had to work, so the kids would have to stay in school, past 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, so the TV and the government could raise the kids so the parents wouldn't. And they've done a great job, and they've devastated us, and the public's a bunch of brain-dead animals who can't even hardly string a sentence together, and everything's collapsing and falling apart, and the New World Order using high-tech psych warfare and economic warfare has devastated the nation, and now they're rolling in with a completely engineered depression to bring in a hardcore tyranny and mop up the operation. And they're shifting the entire military over to Skynet. And that's not from the 1984 movie with the Terminator Arnold Schwarzenegger. The script writers from that got all of that from Pentagon battle plans for Skynet, GroundNet, SmartNet, Smart Dust.